find out. This is a really funny one. I've never heard of Kay Kaiser before, never knew who he was, but I happened to see musical comedy with 3 of the most classic horror film celebrities: Bela Lugosi, Boris Karloff, and Peter Lorre. All we need was Lon Chaney Jr. Oh, and if anyone asks how Peter Lorre made that list, well, then they probably, like myself, have only ever pictured him as that Japanese detective, Mr. Moto. But that guy was actually in all kinds of spooky movies with all kinds of spooky roles. And I've got to say, in this movie, he was actually the scariest character. I'm not going to give away too much of the plot for this one, especially since it's a comedy, so there's not too much plot to give away. I will say that after seeing this movie, we proceeded to watch 2 more Kay Kaiser movies. The guy's really funny, he really is. He uses a lot of the same corny routines as most comedy actors back in the day, but then who doesn't? Okay? So Kay Kaiser unfortunately only did 4 movies, 3 of which we saw. Didn't see the very first one actually yet though, because we couldn't find it available on YouTube. I assume it's probably because it's a Lucille Ball movie also, and most of her movies are usually free to just watch. But anyway, Kay Kaiser was actually a band leader, most known for his College of Knowledge program, which he performed live and on radio. I thought it was great that he gave everybody in his band their own solos here and there. Like some of them, like Harry Babbitt, Ginny Sims, Ish Kabibble, you know, they had their own act, you know? And that's pretty hard to do with most bands. Like most bands, you see them all grouped together as one. But Kay Kaiser's band, you get to see them all as individuals. And I thought that was pretty cool. I also love seeing Dennis O'Keefe in this film. I always liked him a lot in like Broadway Limited and Topper Returns. I didn't realize the number of serious film noir type movies that he actually was in, like T-Men and Lady Scarface. The latter of which was actually filmed directly after Broadway Limited, the same year. Like he was actually well established as a tough guy lead in many of those old action movies and crime dramas. And he was just as well known for his comic roles. He was a really versatile actor. The only other lead actor aside from Chester Morris who bounced back and forth between comedy and action so much. In You'll Find Out, we get to see him do the whole comedy pair routine with Kay Kaiser, so that was also really funny. The 2 of them investigate the secret passages of the old mansion in the middle of the night. They're sneaking around. They look like Shaggy and Scooby, okay? Or at least Fred and Shaggy. Okay, so what is scary about this movie is like Bela Lugosi, Boris Karloff, and Peter Lorre are all working together. Okay, that's kind of creepy. You know they're up to something. Bela Lugosi is a fake psychic. Okay, Boris Karloff, the friendly old family lawyer who happens to be the mastermind behind the whole thing on the side. Okay, and then Peter Lorre is this killer for hire character. And at the mansion, he's posing as this professor trying to expose Bela Lugosi as a fraud. In this guise, he hardly even keeps up. He gains the confidence of Kaiser and the whole band. And as to what Kay Kaiser and his band are doing there. Well, they got hired to entertain at the birthday party for the love interest for Dennis O'Keefe. She actually, I forgot her name, she's really cool. I saw her in the Mystery of the 13th Guest. I liked her in that. So O'Keefe, he's playing the band's fictional manager, Chuck. But in real life, the band's manager was none other than Ish Kabibble, which, based on his dumb, bumbling comic character, nobody would ever suspect that. I think my favorite scene was to the climax where Karloff, Lugosi, and Lorre all walk in. Okay, you have to picture it like Boris Karloff was just in a fight, and he's still in his ghost getup, and he's got his white hair all messed up, and he's got a gun. And then Peter Lorre, in his dressing robe and his long cigarette holder, also has a gun. And then Bela Lugosi on the side, in his suspenders and turban, with a stick of dynamite. I mean, it was a pretty dynamic scene, you know, the three of them all walking in together like that. And then the unlikely hero turned out to be the little dog, who chased everybody along with the stick of dynamite after Bela Lugosi lit it and threw it in the room. The dog thought he was playing catch. So everybody runs across the room, and the dog grabs the dynamite, and he follows them. And then they run back, and the dog follows them. And then they throw it out the window, and the dog brings it back. But then, whenever Boris, Karloff, Bela Lugosi, and Peter Lorre are all leaving, they rush out that way, and the dog sees them, so he runs after them with the dynamite. And then we hear this big explosion. Fortunately, though, the dog made it out okay. Oh, and then in the end, we have this little scene where Kay Kaiser comes out after the curtain rolls down, and he says about how Bela Lugosi and Boris Karloff and Peter Lorre, they were all nice people, you know. They're friends of his. And then he gets electrocuted by one of their traps earlier on in the movie.